You know, I just watched Jeff Siegel, the Select Daddy's OTRS review of Raw this past Monday night. Now, I didn't see Raw due to the fact that I'd already read the spoilers earlier on during the day and pretty much had an idea of what was going on. So, I'll probably watch it later, download it if you will, and watch it. But one of the things a lot of people, one thing that Jeff mentioned, and something that not just him, but a lot of fans have basically had a problem with when it comes to Survivor Series. Now, me, I'm a personal fan of Survivor Series. Always have been. In fact, it's one of the pay-per-views that really got me into being a wrestling fan. Yeah, I was an occasional wrestling fan as a kid, but I was more into watching cartoons, watching the Transformers, watching the Ninja Turtles and stuff like that, to really be any kind of wrestling fan until basically around the 90s when events like WrestleMania 6 and SummerSlam, and more specifically Survivor Series came around. And it was that Survivor Series, that 1990 Survivor Series, that really got me hooked. As a matter of fact, just recently, a couple of nights ago, I copied a link off YouTube of the Survivor Series 1990, pasted it into the download section of keepvid.com, and downloaded that Survivor Series. And what was great about this one is that out of all the copies I had seen, out of all the copies of this Survivor Series I had seen, from the VHSs to the downloads of torrents and stuff like that, this one was actually the original recording. That's right. This was actually the original recording of the 1990 Survivor Series. These Survivor Series that really got me hooked into WWE and all of wrestling. And the reason it got me hooked was because of the uniqueness. You had teams not just put together that had meaning behind each and every one of them. Not only did you have a reason for them having these matches, basically a goal in mind at the end, and to be a part of at the end, but you also had names for these teams. You did. You had names. You didn't just say, okay, it's this person, that person, that person, that's it, and say, oh, the team, whatever. No, you had actual names for these teams. I mean, on one end, one of the main event matches, one of the main event Survivor Series matches, was the Hulkamaniacs against the Natural Disasters. And here's what was funny about the Hulkamaniac team. The Hulkamaniac team, to me, to this day, was the greatest assembly of tag team talent that night. Survivor Series tag team talent that night, alongside the Ultimate Warriors. Because here's why. The Hulkamaniacs consisted of Big Boss Man, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and Tugboat. And out of all the years Hulk had teams, he put teams together. Out of all the years he put teams that involved people like Jake the Snake, Demolition, Coco B. Rare, Randy Savage, who was a co-captain with him, Hillbilly Jim, you name it, Ken Patera. Out of all these teams, this was the best Hulkamaniac team I'd ever seen. Even better than the 1995 Hulkamaniac War Games team. That's how, and you had Sting on that team. You had Sting on that team, along with Savage and Luger and Hogan. But still, this Hulkamaniacs team was better than that. And that was the uniqueness about it. That was the uniqueness that attracted people to Survivor Series. And like I said, you had the Ultimate Warriors later that night, consisting of Ultimate Warrior, WWE Champion at that time, Kerry Von Erich, the Texas Tornado, Intercontinental Champion at that time, and the Legion of Doom, who were going to go on to be the Tag Team Champions a year later for the WWE, but had already won multiple tag team championships before they came to WWE. I mean, what more could you ask for? And then some of the other teams that were slapped together had some uniqueness. The Vipers, Jake the Snake, Superfly, and the Rockers. You know, the Alliance, Nikolai, Tito Santana, and the Bushwhackers. And then some of the adversaries, like I said, Natural Disasters, Earthquake, Dino Bravo, Haku, Barbarian, Mr. Perfect, Demolition, all three members of Demolition. Slaughter's, the Mercenaries, Sergeant Slaughter, Boris Zukov, Orient Express. The Visionaries, series, if you will. The Visionaries, consisting of Rick the Model Martel, Power and Glory, and Warlord. Dusty Rhodes' team, consisting of Dusty himself, Coco B. Rare, the Hart Foundation, the opponents. And this Survivor Series is also important because of this reason. Their opponents, $1 Million Corporation, Rhythm and Blues, Honky Tonk Man, Greg the Hammer Valentine, $1 Million Man himself, Ted DiBiase, and the mystery partner, a guy that's been with the company since that very day, The Undertaker. And this was the event in which he made his debut at. And, ladies and gentlemen, it's just something that, when I look at Survivor Series, this was the reason I got into it. This is the reason, one of the main reasons people got into being some fans of Survivor Series. Sorry, folks, I was just checking something. But anyway, this was one of the main reasons people got into Survivor Series. Because of things like this. Because of matches that had meaning. And then, like I said, the goal that you had for them at the end. You just didn't have the Survivor Series matches and that's it. You had a goal. You had the additional match of survival grand finale. I mean, again, this is what made Survivor Series so special and unique. Even more unique at times than WrestleMania. Because it was the only time of the year that you saw multiple tag teams being formed by individuals that were sometimes looked at as loners, or good friends or allies, or just had a common purpose. That's how good Survivor Series was, and that is what attracted people to the Survivor Series. That's why people would always lay down their money for Survivor Series. Even if they said, you know what, I'm only going to get 2 pay-per-views a year. Even if they said, you know what, I'm just going to get WrestleMania and Survivor Series. They would lay down their money for Survivor Series. You know, like, okay, if they said, okay, I'm always going to get WrestleMania, but if I was to choose one more, I would choose Survivor Series because of its uniqueness. That's why people always liked it, and they always have liked it. But then, of course, throughout the years, things changed. A year after this great Survivor Series, we had Survivor Series 1991. Still good and everything. You had your traditional Survivor Series matches, fill up a majority of the show, but you had a difference. You had your first singles match at Survivor Series take place between Hulk Hogan and The Undertaker, who were celebrating 1 year in the company and 1 year being undefeated, and went over Hulk Hogan that night, stayed undefeated, and became WWE Champion within 1 year. Within his first year. Yeah. And what also, according to what we've heard and understood, that also signified a bit of a change rumbling through the WWE, because fans were starting to cheer for Undertaker instead of Hogan. Surprising, right? But here's the thing. That gravest challenge, as it was dubbed, and I saw it live. I ordered the pay-per-view, I saw it live. That gravest challenge is what set the stage for a change that would be coming into the Survivor Series year after year. The following year, they decided to try something new with Survivor Series, and apparently it didn't go over well, but it's something that they have done occasionally at times, as everybody's noticed, in the past 10 to 15 years. Or past 10 years anyway. And that is the following year, Survivor Series was basically dominated by regular tag team and singles matches, while the only Survivor Series match you had, if any, was the Natural Disasters and the Nasty Boys against the Beverly Brothers and Money Incorporated. That was it. And the only reason that match was slapped together is because of the history the Natural Disasters and Nasty Boys had with Money Incorporated, and sort of the recent history Natural Disasters had with the Beverly Brothers. And that was it. And then the following year, we went back to sort of the format that they did 2 years prior, and that was have one regular match and have most of the pay-per-view dominated by traditional Survivor Series matches. And that was good. This actually turned out to be a decent version of Survivor Series. And the only non-Survivor Series match you had was the Smoky Mountain Tag Team match. And that's all it was. It was just a match that was put together because of the joint cooperation between Jim Cornette's Smoky Mountain Wrestling and the WWE. And that was it. And I think the following year you had, again, Survivor Series. The following years you would have Survivor Series dominated by tag team matches, and you would have maybe one or two non-Survivor Series matches put in there in between. Every now and then you'd have one or two non-Survivor Series matches put inserted into the card in between all those traditional Survivor Series elimination tag matches. You would have that go on for the next few years, but as soon as we got to around 1998, we got to around Survivor Series 1998, that all kind of changed. We went back into that singles format, but this was the only time that singles matches had a meaning, because basically it was a tournament to crown a new WWE champion, and basically whoever lost was eliminated out of the tournament, just like you eliminated out of the Survivor Series tag team match. So that was the only thing. And again, on occasion, Survivor Series would be mostly dominated by non-Survivor Series matches, and you would have a few traditional Survivor Series matches thrown in. So it was going back and forth, and then I guess they decided to, kind of mix it up a little bit, if you know what I mean. Well, at least attempt to, throughout the years. And then, when we got to Survivor Series 2006, and I think a year or so after or before, and I think the one before and after, I don't know, but mostly 2006, this is where they picked up the ball. This, to me, no matter how people look at it, was probably the better Survivor Series in recent memory. Probably the more suited, more balanced out Survivor Series card, because here's why. Here's why. You had 7 matches. True, you had 4 non-Survivor Series matches. You had a World Heavyweight title match, you had a U.S. title match, you had a First Blood match, and you had a women's match. Okay, that's fine. But that was also balanced out in a way with the 3 traditional matches you had, and they all had meaning. You had the DX team, CM Punk, and the Hardys against Rated RKO, Johnny Nitro, Mike Knox, Gregory Helms. You had John Cena, Kane, Bobby Lashley, Sabu, and RVD versus Big Show, Test, MVP, Finlay, and Umaga. Then you had Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, Ron Simmons, and Sergeant Slaughter against the Spirit Squad. I mean, basically, even though it was only 3 Survivor Series matches, traditional Survivor Series matches, the time that they were given kind of balanced out with the non-Survivor Series matches that we had. So that's why, to me, despite what you may think about it, this was probably one of the better ones they had in the past, I guess, what now, 6, 7 years? So, to me, that's what WWE needs to do with Survivor Series. Now, right now, we only have about, I think, 3 matches so far signed for Survivor Series, and they're all non-Survivor Series matches, unless something changes with the more recent match. And that most recent match is Punk and Bryan against the Wyatt family. The other 2 matches are for the championships. You have John Cena and Alberto Del Rio for the world title, and you have Randy Orton defending the WWE title against Big Show. Now, unless something changes with the Daniel Bryan Wyatt deal, and that becomes a Survivor Series match, which some people are hoping for, well, probably, we still got about a week or so to find out, if you will. To me, this is what I see happening. I see something happening that's happened before at Survivor Series. Even with the free-for-all, dark match, kickoff show-like matches. This is what I see happening. I see maybe 1 or 2 Survivor Series, probably 3 at the most, just like this one, 3 at the most, slapped together. That's right. I probably see about 2 or 3 traditional Survivor Series matches slapped together. That's what I see. One of them, I probably do see a Divas match coming about. Yeah, I do see a traditional Survivor Series Divas match happening. On one end, you would have the Bellas, you would have Natalya, and I'm guessing maybe Eva Marie. Who knows? And on the other hand, you would have something like AJ, you would have Alicia, you would have maybe Tamina, and maybe Oksana, perhaps. Or maybe on the other side, you would have Natalya, Naomi, and the Bellas. Or maybe the Funkadactyls, Brie Bella, and Natalya, depending on how they do it. But then on the other hand, again, like I said, you could have AJ, Tamina, Alicia Fox, Oksana, Layla, and there's 5 divas. And then on the other hand, you could have Natalya, Brie, Nikki, and the Funkadactyls, and that would make 5. So you'll probably end up having a 5-on-5 traditional Survivor Series match involving the divas. Expect maybe that to happen. Not saying it will, but expect that to probably happen, because right now that all kind of evolves around the whole Total Divas situation. So there you go. And then, as far as other traditional Survivor Series matches go, expect the Rose Brothers, Cody and Goldust, to team up with the Usos and maybe the Primetime Players. The reason I say this is because, on the other hand, you have the Shield, and you got to give them partners, and who better to give them partners than 3MB? Who else are you going to give them? Huh? There's a 6-on-6 tag match right there. Or, what you could do is you could have Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins in a match, teamed up with maybe the Real Americans, and on the other hand, you could have the Rhodes, and you could have the Usos, and there's a traditional match right there. Maybe, or if you want to throw in Dean Ambrose, make it 5-on-5, throw in Big E Langston. There you go. You'll have something like that, I know that. And then on the other hand, speaking of the Primetime Players, I guarantee they're going to be involved in a match, possibly with tons of funk, and they might probably face a team as well. Who knows? You might have them face 3MB. You might have tons of funk, and maybe the Primetime Players face 3MB, and I would guess maybe Curtis Axel, if you want to throw him in there, or whoever else you could think of. Maybe I'm trying to think here. You have 3MB. Who would you have them team up with in a 4-on-4 match or a 5-on-5 match? And the only thing I can think of is you can have 3MB team up, possibly, and this is just my thought here. You could have them, again, I'm trying to think here of who's on the roster that could go with 3MB. Because like I said, you could have 3MB against Tons of Funk and the Primetime Players. And you could have 3MB and, trying to think, maybe Curtis Axel, like I said. You know, maybe Kurt Hawkins, maybe, who knows? I'm just saying, something like that. You know, I'm just saying, you know, you could do something like that. Again, though, I'm trying to think. Here. I'm thinking you could have Kurt Hawkins in there. Just throw him in there. Give him a big payday if you want to or something like that. So you could have 3MB, Kurt Hawkins, and you could have him go against Primetime Players and Tons of Funk. There you go. Or what you could do is you could do Tons of Funk, and you could give them, let's say, Santino and Tyson as the partners, and you could have them go against, Fandango, there you go, Fandango. Completely forget about that guy. Completely forget about him. That's who you could have team with 3MB. You could have Fandango team up with 3MB and face Tons of Funk and the Primetime Players, and there would be a traditional Survivor Series match for you right there. No, I'm just saying. Or you could have them team up against maybe the Primetime Players or Tons of Funk and have their partners be Tyson Kidd and Santino Marella, and maybe on the other hand, like I said, you could have 3MB and maybe Fandango. I'm just saying, you know. You could throw in just about anybody if you want to. You could throw in The Miz if you want to. You could throw in Dolph Ziggler. You could do something with these guys. But expect maybe 2 or 3 additional Survivor Series, traditional Survivor Series elimination matches to be done. Like I said, expect possibly the Rhodes Brothers and the Usos, and maybe Big E Langston if they do 5-on-5 to face the Shield and the Real Americans. Expect that to happen. Expect that to happen. And then, possibly with another traditional Survivor Series match, expect 3MB to be involved in it. Expect the partner to be maybe Fandango or somebody that you would expect or maybe not expect. And expect them to face maybe Tons of Funk and the Primetime Players. Or heck, maybe even expect them to face, who knows, maybe Los Matadores and the Primetime Players. Just saying. So, but to me, I believe that's what we're going to probably end up having as far as traditional Survivor Series matches go this year. And yeah, they're kind of thrown together, or they're kind of expected, like maybe with the Rhodes and the Usos and all that, and maybe Big E. Again, like I said, they're all kind of expected, but at least they are Survivor Series matches. Again though, I understand how a lot of people like Jeff Siegel feel about this whole situation with the Survivor Series, what made the Survivor Series what it is, the traditional elimination matches. I can understand where they're all coming from with the fact, where everybody's like him, they're coming from with the fact that it's not been that way for quite some time anymore, that it's been different, that it's been like, oh, we're going to do this instead of that, you know. But again, you got to give them credit. At least they will try to put maybe 2 or 3 on there, and I do expect a Divas one, like I said. So, and you know what? For the heck of it, why don't they just throw in NXT? Throw NXT a bone. Give some of the NXT guys a shot at the spotlight. Even if it's a kickoff show, give them the spotlight. Let them have a traditional Survivor Series match, and you can equal it out to 4. You know what I'm saying? But hey, that's just my thought. Let me know what you think down below, folks. But again, I do understand why a lot of people like Jeff Siegel And many people in the IWC and the YWC are pissed off at how Survivor Series has been treated over the years. And maybe in time things might change. Remember, we got another week. So they might change that Daniel Bryan Wyatt family tag match to a traditional Survivor Series match. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. And that's all I'm going to say, folks. Let me know what you think down below. Comment if you like. Video responses are greatly appreciated. And I'll talk to y'all later.